It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? It's been quite a ride. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna shitpost about anybody in particular or anything in particular. I'm just gonna sort of like hop around, hopscotch around, the goings on as of late. Oh, Andy, Andy's on a little bit of a redemption arc now, isn't he? Yeah, the uh, the retarded phoenix is rising again. Yeah, good on him. I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope it works out with Geek Thulu. I'm not 100% on Geek Thulu, to tell you the truth. But I always put my coach coin on Andy. And I know that that's a good bet. So I'm sure that, he's going to have another little bout with, his entertainments, with his video games and his Coke. Those are his two weaknesses, really. The weed is just to, he can handle the weed. It's the Coke and the fucking video games. Yeah, but he'll get back on track. I'm sure he will. And maybe Geek's around. Maybe he won't be. Who knows? But, I think it'll work out fine for Andy. Tonka. Oh, that bitch-made little wheelchair-loving little faggot. He's gone now, isn't he? Yeah, we're not going to be seeing him. I'm going to bet that he's going to just pack it in and just go away, as he should, because he's got no space left here. Everybody thinks that he's just scum. And he himself knew what he was doing was going to kill him, could potentially kill him, and it did kill him, This whole recording that came out of him and Kraut, 3-hour fucking marathon thing. And what happened? He said that if it ever came out, it would be curtains for everybody. He said it. He knew it. And he said this line that I thought is just so classic. I mean, I could not have written a better line. He said, "You lose your audience when your audience becomes ashamed of you." Oh, what a line. What a truth. Because that's the thing about a great line. A great line is a great truth. And that was a great truth. And that's what happened to poor Tonka Saw. He had an audience, and his audience grew ashamed of him. Ashamed of him because of his actions, because of his failures as a man. But not even the failures as a man, because look, we all have failures. That's not the problem. Having failures, having defects, having deficiencies is perfectly natural and normal. We're human beings, for crying out loud. We're not fucking robots that are, built to specification. No, we're human beings and we're fuck-ups, right? But the issue is that we have to try to improve on our deficiencies and our weaknesses. And when we recognize a deficiency or a weakness that we cannot fix, we have to protect it. We have to make it so that that weakness is not exposed. Tonka's weakness was that he was thin-skinned. He couldn't take a little bit of banter, a little bit of bants. He couldn't take some shit being flung at him. He'd freak out. He'd have a little meltdown on Twitter, and then in streams, and then eventually this idiotic, fight me IRL, dunga, rasa, fucking retard. Good riddance to bad rubbish. You know what I'm saying? Kraut. Why even bother? I mean, that retard. I used to think that he was like a talented guy who's just, misdirected. But no, I've changed my mind. He's just an out-and-out retard. He's just the retardation, the low IQ, the imbecility of the man is just too egregious to ignore at this point. It's not that, it was a one or two bad decisions. No, it's just consistent bad decisions, a consistent inability to realize who he's dealing with, to realize that the people he's surrounding himself are just just the scum of the earth, really bottom of the barrel. I mean, just nothings, because he's a nothing. Huh? The skeptics, man, they're in trouble. And Sargon, man, he is in trouble. And Sargon is cornered. I actually messaged him on Skype. I messaged him and I said that he was cornered. He didn't realize it, maybe. Maybe he thought that it was just a wide open space, but he's cornered. And that corner where he's in, where he's trapped, it's going to start getting a lot smaller as more people start attacking him. I mean, everybody's making fun of him. Everybody's got the knives out for the guy. See? Yeah, back in December, when I said the famous phrase, Sargon knew, I was the only one there, right? So it was easy to strike me down. It was easy to do one video and put me away, or so he thought. Yeah, back in December of 17, I was the only one who said it. Sargon knew. And now everybody's saying it. Everybody's saying it. Sargon knew. I'm getting like these Twitter tweets, apology tweets. It's flattering, you know. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, the vindication, it's nice. Yeah, sure. But what's much nicer, better, much more fun is to watch the little schemes, the little machinations, you know, like trying to do this, that, the other, you know, they're trying to save their position. The dumb fuck. Sargon, the dumb fuck. Sargon, the moron. Have you noticed that Stefan Molyneux and Sargon of Akkad have roughly the same size channel, the same size footprint in terms of daily views, roughly the same content output? Stefan Molyneux and Sargon of Akkad are essentially the same thing because they basically do the same thing. They take news and they comment it and they filter it through their personalities, right? But see, we never talk about Stefan Molyneux now, do we? I mean, I have no idea about the man. I'm sure he's lovely. I have nothing bad to say about the man. On the contrary, he seems, you know, perfectly nice, but I never talk about him. Nobody ever talks about him. Why? Because he's not involved in gay ops. Because he's not into all this drama that Sargon is. Sargon loves this drama, and it's destroying him, you know? It's totally and utterly destroying him. And he's in a corner now, and that corner is getting smaller and smaller as his enemies, as the people looking to make a name for themselves by trying to kill Sargon in some way or another, or at least hurt him. They're going to come after him more every day. And he's going to, you know, swing wildly, trying to hit somebody, but he's not going to be able to, because it's like, you know, when a school of piranhas starts going after you, yeah, you can kill one or two of the piranhas, man, but in the end, that school of piranhas is going to eat you alive. There's going to be nothing but bone, like in one of those James Bond movies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. See, when you're the lone piranha, like I was back in December, yeah, you can get hurt pretty bad. But when it's the whole aquarium is after you, that's a different story now, isn't it? Oh yeah. He's cornered, and he's gonna flail around, and like the rat that he is, you know, he's still got his claws and he's still got his teeth, and he's gonna scratch and he's gonna bite. Mark my words. And more than one or two of the piranhas that are after him are gonna wind up getting killed by Sargon, sure, you know, because he's still dangerous. But in the end, he's going to turn into the amazing atheist. Yeah. It'll take about a year and a half, 1 million subs, and no views. Yeah. Now let's talk about somebody else. Somebody really microscopically minor. I'm talking about Thomas Smellington. Oh man, I felt sorry for the son of a bitch at first, you know, trying to make a little YouTube channel, you know. I didn't quite understand why, He put so much effort into his videos, but he didn't seem like a hobbyist. He didn't seem like a man who had a lot of time to waste. He seemed like a man who needed money, quite frankly. And you can always tell. You can always tell when a guy needs money. And Thomas Ellington came across as a man who needed money. He needed the shekels bad. And so, well, what happened, for those of you who missed it, for those two of you who missed it, well, he was doing some stream, and I happened to stumble on it. And I went over to the Discord and got on the stream, but Thomas Ellington had passed out, drunk. Fucking moron. And the mic was hot, right? And it captured him having a fight with his wife. Now, the first part of the fight was pretty goddamn funny. She said that he hadn't bathed in 2 days and that he was stinking up the house. That was fucking funny, if you ask me. Goddamn funny, yeah? Yeah. So he was stinking up the house, and she was pissed at him because of it. It was funny. But then the conversation took a turn for the worse, you know. Then the conversation... See, in the relationship between a man and a woman, a husband and wife, right? There's a kind of fight, there's a kind of, you know, disgust that one partner might feel for the other, but it's transitory. It's not real. It's superficial. It's of the moment, right? There are lots of times when you're going to be disgusted by your wife because she does something icky, you know. I don't know, like leaves her used tampons lying around. That happens. They do it. Or just clogs up the drain with all their hair and don't do anything about it, right? Or don't shave their armpits or some shit like that. And you're disgusted with them, right? And you might even berate them for it, right? But it's sort of like a superficial disgust. You're like disgusted by the moment, the bad habit, okay? And it's not real. It's just like a very thin coat of paint, or not even a thin coat of paint. It's a thin dusting of emotion over the steel of the real emotion that you feel for your partner, be it, you know, your wife or your husband, as the case may be. But the conversation with Thomas Ellington and his wife, it took a turn for the worse. It took a really ugly turn. And the stuff about him not having bathed in a couple of days and stinking up the house, that was just the superficial part of a deeper contempt that his wife had for him. And he's just like trying to, like, you know, hang on to the marriage, you can tell. And she feels that she's stuck with him, that she's stuck with a loser. She feels contempt for the guy. Now, I recorded this conversation, of course, and I uploaded it to the shit stream, but I cut out that second part. I cut it out because I thought it was wrong to air it, that I'd be doing wrong by airing it. And I still think that way. But somebody else had recorded the conversation, you know. Somebody else had recorded the conversation, and they aired it, the full conversation. You know, with the real nasty bits in the second half of that conversation. And I was, you know, not upset, but I thought to myself, I told Ethan, Ralph, and Zidane that they shouldn't air that shit. And well, Ethan and Zidane said, you know, it's the show, man. And yeah, it is a show. I was just deeply unhappy that was there. Part of the reason that I put up the oof episode of the shit stream was precisely to preempt anybody else from uploading that conversation. I figured that if I posted it, right, and cut out that bit artfully enough, you know, nobody would notice. But a lot of people noticed. And Thomas Ellington himself, the fucking retard, went on the Ralph retort and actually mentioned it before it had actually surfaced. So inevitably it did surface. It did surface, and everybody had sort of like a laugh, but at the same time they were horrified by it. And Ethan Ralph, being the very good host that he is, the very clever host that he is, he got Thomas Ellington on the show. And that's when all of my respect, the little respect I had for Thomas Ellington, just went out the window. Because Smellington, Thomas the Stank, well, he was preening on the Ralph Retort. He was thrilled to have a little bit of e-fame, to be a little bit of a celebrity. To be a little bit of a celebrity while people listened to his wife berate him in the most hurtful way. I mean, it really was. And he was preening, and he was happy about it. And I thought to myself, man, the guy is just too low. I don't want to deal with him. And I don't want nothing to do with Ellington. I think that he's just scum. I feel sorry for his wife who feels trapped with him because she sees him for what I now see him to be. A scumbag, a lowlife, a nothing, a zero. Ugh. The guy is just horrible. A horrible human being. Yeah. You know what this Smellington fucktard is going to do? He's going to try to convince his wife to get on the Ralph Retort with him. That's Jerry Springer, like I married my cousin kind of level of debasement. I can't truck with such people. And somebody who's willing to sell their dignity, their self-respect for a little bit of e-fame, that's so fucking low. And the weird thing is that, it's funny because, like, in a weird way, this kind of like strong emotion, it's like, like something out of a Russian novel, these strong emotions, these strong characters doing horrendous things, without any equivocation, without any hesitation, with none of this postmodernist, like, oh, should I or shouldn't I? Oh, I don't know. How do I feel about it? No. They just dive headfirst into the muck, into the sewage. Oh, it's horrifying and hypnotic. Well, that's the way it is on the shit stream. It's horrible, it's horrifying, and it's hypnotic. Grab it and growl, baby.